All right, perfect. Can I take your seats? Oh, I'm missing member Stevenson's. I'm sorry, I'll just wait for member Stevenson before I call forward. Yeah. Member Branscombe, can you hear us? Perfect.
Can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear. Thank you.
Good, thanks.
Okay, we have member Walker.
Hey, what's up there?
You okay right now? I just see if you have someone that will hide on the scene. All right, perfect. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. We'll call the meeting back to order at 1:04 p.m. Pursuant to Community Safety and Policing Act, which came into effect on April 1st of this year. A police service board. Perfect. My apologies. So I wanted to acknowledge that before we went into camera in accordance with the Police Service Act for matters regarding confidential HR, finance, and legal matters. And that meeting is now concluded, and we are coming back into public effective at 1:05 p.m. I want to thank you all for joining us in person and online. I do want to acknowledge that member Branscombe is online. You'll see her up on the screen there. And then everyone else from the board is in present, including senior admin as well. I also want to acknowledge that our April meeting was canceled due to scheduling conflicts that produced a situation of lack of quorum. We do apologize for the inconvenience. There is a bit more of a full agenda, but we should have everything in regular time through today as well. So, and we also want to thank you for accommodating the change back to 1 p.m. For everyone's information. The public meetings going forward will be set at the 1 p.m. time with always some flexibility should situations arise, but you should expect that we will be going in public session at 1 p.m. On the Thursdays that we do have board meetings. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Ryan Goss. I'm the vice chair and the current acting chair of the London Police Service Board. As you may or may not be aware, our former chair, Ali Shabar, resigned due to health reasons, and I'm acting in his stead at the current moment. I will ask for any disclosures of interest from my colleagues. Seeing none, I'll move into the introduction of new business, and there is a motion that I'll look for a mover and a seconder to move the board continuity report to item number 1 of the open agenda. Moved by member Stevenson. Can I have a seconder, please? Seconded by member Walker. Anyone opposed? That's carried. Thank you very much. So I will turn it over to Executive Director Johansson just to speak about the report briefly.
So you'll find the report in your packages. It's just a quick 2-pager. It's with respect to, as interim chair Goss mentioned, the resignation of our former chair Ali Shabar, and I know you will be speaking to that further in your verbal updates. Recognizing that the board is an entity, not an individual. Things must go on, and there are certain measures that we have to take to ensure that we are able to proceed with our business as usual. In this report, I do speak to the fact in the CSPA, technically, you are the interim chair. Elections occur once a year in the first meeting of the year, and this is in legislation. Having said that, you are able to hold an election, considering the fact that we currently don't have a vice chair, and considering the fact that 6 months still remain in the term. I am recommending that there be an election to formalize the situation so that we can move on for the rest of the year with a formal chair and vice chair. And the other thing to address is the gap in the governance committee membership. Currently, there are just 2 members, member Walker, member Goss. We are now missing the 3rd member. So if there could be an election for somebody to take on that role.
Perfect. Are there any questions for Executive Director Johansson? Seeing none, I'll look to the will of the board on how they wish to proceed on the election of chair and vice chair. Should there be the will, I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to move.
That we move to an election.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that the ED should chair that portion of the meeting, I think.
Absolutely. So I need a seconder of that motion. Member Walker, Anyone opposed or any discussion? Anyone opposed? That's carried. So I'll turn the chair over to Executive Director Johansson.
So to begin, I'm going to open the floor to nominations for the position of chair, and they require a mover and a seconder.
I have a motion to. Stephanie?
You have a nomination?
Yes, Ryan Goss to be chair.
Okay. Seconder?
Thank you. I'll second that.
Okay. Stevenson? So are there any other further nominations for the position of chair for the term that begins tomorrow until the first meeting of the year in 2026? Having no further nominations, we'll now proceed with a motion to elect Member Goss as chair for the term starting tomorrow and ending at the first meeting of 2026, as the CSBA mandates there be an election for chair at the first meeting of every year. Can I get a mover?
I'll move it.
Okay, Member Branscombe?
I'll second.
Thought I just did, but anyhow, okay.
Okay. All right, all those in favor? Okay, any opposed? Okay, so moved. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, and we now are going to have an election for the position of vice chair for the same term, starting tomorrow, ending at the first meeting of the year in 2026. So are there any, I'm going to open up the floor to nominations for the position of vice chair. Okay, we've got a nomination.
I'd like to nominate Member Branscombe for position vice chair, please.
Okay, mover, got a seconder. Okay, Member Stevenson. All right, are there any further nominations? Okay, so hearing no further nominations, we're now going to proceed with a motion to elect Member Nancy Branscombe as vice chair for the term starting tomorrow and ending at the first meeting of 2026. Can I get a mover? Okay. Member Lehman and Member Stevenson. Okay, congratulations. We've got a chair and a vice chair.
Very much. And
Your vote.
Oh, I thought we, I'm sorry.
no, but she gives the instruction.
Excuse me, is there a mover, a seconder, all those in favor? Okay, all those opposed? Okay, congratulations, Vice Chair.
So I will resume the chair. Thank you very much, Executive Director Johansson. And I'll move to the next item in your agenda. That's the approval of minutes from our April 17th board meeting. They're on the floor. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Member Lehman, seconded by Member Morgan. Any errors, omissions, corrections? Seeing none, anyone opposed? That's carried. Thank you very much. We will now move into item number 2. Oh, actually, we still need one more item on the governance committee as well. So I'll look for nominations from the floor to fill the vacancy on the LPSB governance committee.
You might consider asking for volunteers.
Is there any, maybe we'll go that way. Vice Chair Branscombe, are there any volunteers that would like to join the governance committee?
We need an odd number. I sit on the other two committees. I think that's plenty, but I would temporarily do this until, if and when we get a full board and that new person would be perhaps interested. I have enough, but I think it's important because we're doing so much work with the governance committee right now, so.
Thank you for putting your name forward, Vice Chair Branscombe. Is there anyone else that would like to consider? Don't rush. Okay, so I will look for a motion then to appoint Vice Chair Branscombe to the governance committee on a temporary basis, which we will review once new provincial appointee has been determined. Moved by Member Stevenson, seconded by Member Lehman. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. Anyone opposed, excuse me? That's carried. Thank you very much. So I will now move into what was item number 2 before the amended package was amended to move the board continuity report up. We will go to 2.1, the Finance Committee report, and I will turn it over to Member Stevenson, who is the chair of our Finance Committee, to speak to the contents of that report.
Thank you. Yes, we met and it was a good discussion. We had Budget Chair Pelosa come and brief the board on the contents of the letter. We had a good conversation around the budget and how we could collaborate. It's going to be really important to have these ongoing communications with council. So we're looking forward to that through this process. We also have a recommended motion coming out of the committee to the board. And
I'd entertain that motion now, if you want to put it on the floor,
Okay.
Member Stevens.
I will read that then. The recommended motion is that the board receives for information the correspondence from London City Council and formally responds prior to the June 11th City Council budget meeting. That the board requests the London Police Service to provide a high-level summary of key areas where efficiencies have been achieved, along with any other potential considerations to support this correspondence to City Council. And that the board requests the London Police Service to include information on realized cost savings and potential future savings that would not impede service delivery in its 2026 and 2027 budget update report, which will be presented to the board in September.
Perfect, and I would take the liberty that you'll be moving that motion.
Yes.
Perfect, so moved by Member Stevenson, can I have a seconder?
I'll second.
Seconded by Member Branscombe, thank you very much. I'll put that motion now on the floor. I'll take a list, anyone who's looking to discuss. Member Lehman.
Thank you. And I want to thank our finance chair for putting this forward. We received important presentation from council presented to us by the budget chair Plaza. The city council is going out to all of our agency boards and commissions, asking for a deep look into finding efficiencies. And I think it's incumbent upon this particular board to respond to that request. And I want to make a response in terms of not just a general request, but something specific that sends a message to the taxpayers of London and to council that we take this request very seriously. So I'm proposing that we put a range of target of finding savings in the range of 1 to 1.5 million. And I would like through you, Chair, to ask the chief if that range, Chief, is that an unreasonable request, and understanding fully what we are asking for in this motion is savings that will not impact our important service delivery that you and your team are providing our citizens.
So, sorry, Member Lehman, just before I go to the chief, is that an official amendment that you'll be making?
Correct.
Okay, so you'll move that amendment. Could I have a seconder on that amendment? Member Stevenson, thank you. So that amendment's now on the floor, and I'll go to the chief for response.
Yes, thank you. And Chair, through you, Member Lehman, what I would respond with is if the ask from the board is to find efficiencies in the amount of 1 million to 1.5 million, I'd have to take it back to the team and look at how we can find those efficiencies that will not impact operations and adequate and effective service to the community. If it's a direction from the board, we can certainly do that, and we can do our best to try and achieve the will of the board.
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Chief, and that's totally understandable. And I think that's my intent here as well, to work with the administration cooperatively to make sure we can get to there. And it's efficiencies, but I also want to be clear that there are other ways. There's revenue generation. We provide services for a number of organizations in the city and elsewhere, and I want to, include direction. Well, not direction, but it just a general statement that you and your team in finance can, maybe review what our fees are that we are charging for our services, and are those appropriate, when have they last been reviewed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Chief, response.
Yes, Chair, thank you. Through you. So that's what we would be doing. We'd be looking at, and I just want to make this clear, there's no way that I would be compromising operations. But I would be looking at revenue generation, looking at our revenue streams, and part of it is some risk tolerance in what we predict, as well as looking at our revenue currently, and my mind goes to some of the hiring gaps that we have. But there's things that we can look at. Certainly won't compromise operations, and we'll come back with a detailed report for the board.
Thank you. Final comment, Chair.
Yes.
The board is not, board is sensitive to the taxpayers and to the, to the, I guess, as its council, when they come with this request. And the board's doing their part, and we're gonna come to it later in this meeting, when we looked at our own, executive structure to find, better ways to do things that we can achieve even more, but with less cost. So I just want to make that point happen. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any other comments? Member Morgan?
Yeah, I'll make a few comments. And I'm obviously speaking from my role as a member of the police board. I am fully supportive of the motion. I think it's an appropriate way to look and find savings. I think it aligns with what I've seen other boards and commissions do as well. They're going to look to find savings, as the city has done for the past decade, by looking at the way that operations run, looking at possible avenues of revenue generation, but not looking to compromise on delivering on the mandates that they've committed to in either their strategic plans or their budget proposals to city council. The city of London itself has been able to do that each and every year for the past decade, to find operational efficiencies and or areas of revenue generation without compromising or changing dramatically the structure of the services it provides. And I think each and every reporting commission has responsibility to try to do that as well. So I appreciate the direction from the finance committee and the members who have spoken so far in support of this. I think certainly anything the chief needs or the administration needs and assistance in the process, I think the board is willing to do. But I certainly trust that they'll do their best, and at the very least come back with a comprehensive report on what's possible, what's not, and why. And I think that's what we're asking here. So appreciate the direction from the finance committee, fully supportive of it, and yeah, so look forward to the results of that. And I think it would be nice too to, in some way, maybe through the chair, there's a budget committee meeting next week to maybe update council on the direction we've taken. That's what other boards and commissioners are doing. Just here's some actions we're taking. Here's when we expect to find a little bit more information, and just a general update might be appropriate for us to provide to council.
Do you want to codify that motion?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And if you don't object, we could just add that to the motion to say an update, London City Council on these actions that we're taking.
By
Well, we would want to communicate, if we pass it by the board today, I'd say you'd probably want to write a letter in the next few days, because it could make the added agenda of the budget committee the day before. And I think the budget committee meeting
It's
is,
actually in the first part of the recommendation
perfect.
that we formally respond prior to June 11th.
okay, so when we formally respond, we'll include this additional direction that Councillor Lane is making.
no, is that quick enough? In the motion, it's June 11th. From what you were talking about, we're at May 15th right now. Is that we need to go sooner than June 11th?
Yeah, I was thinking, it doesn't need to be like you could provide a more comprehensive one, but it would be nice by Thursday of next week, when council meets as the budget committee, the added agenda deadline for that will be the day before Wednesday. If possible, it would be nice for them just to get an update and say, here's the initial motion that the board has passed, right?
So would that be a friendly amendment then?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So we'll do that we'll make sure that we respond by next Wednesday to make that agenda. So I've been,
Just because 9 a.m. on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's make it Tuesday. Let's do it. Let's do it.
yeah, awesome. Thank you. So we have an amended motion on the floor. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to it? Okay, I'll just say something quickly. I'll just thank the finance committee for their work on this. I think it's pivotal that we continue to look as well. The mayor, in his other capacity, as well as the budget chair who's visited this board, has made it clear that they're asking everyone to take a look and see what's possible, knowing the burden that taxpayers are facing at this time. I will say that it's very comforting to hear that all these motions are coming to ensure that it does not impact operations, because that's something that we cannot compromise on as a board. We have a firm commitment to improve public safety in the city under the leadership of Chief Strong and his team. So I think this is a good start to kind of have those conversations, and look forward to future conversations at meetings in the near future. So if there's no other comments, I'll call the question. Is there anyone opposed to the motion as amended? Thank you, that's carried. All right, so we'll move right along to 2.2, the Human Resources and Compensation Committee report.
Is there
Yes.
another motion here about the reserve?
Oh, that comes in.
That comes later on in the meeting as well. So yes, but thank you for that. In your package, 2.2, the Human Resources and Compensation Committee report, our organizational review regarding the hiring of a chief administrative officer and general counsel. For those of you who aren't aware, our last meeting, we spoke about the restructuring that had been taking place over the last year here at the London Police Service, and that we would be looking to hire a chief administrative officer and general counsel, and that we went out to tender for a search firm on that as well. So the report in front of you is delegating the authority to the HR committee to continue that process moving forward, and I'll read the recommendation as stated. That the board's HR and compensation committee, in collaboration with Chief Trong, oversees the recruitment process for the chief administrative officer and general counsel positions. The HR compensation committee, in collaboration with Chief Trong, delegated authority to oversee and execute the initial phase of the recruitment process, including to A, select a recruitment agency for the proposals obtained persistent to the board's procurement policy. B, finalize the job postings. C, determine the hiring process for each of the positions. D, shortlist the candidates, and what I believe should be E, coordinate with the board for the interview and selection process. So that is the motion that has been presented. Can I have a mover, please? Member Lehman, can I have a seconder? Member Morgan, I'll put that on the floor for discussion. Are there any comments, questions?
Just gratitude for the HR committee.
Thank you. Seeing none, I'll call the question. Anyone opposed? That's carried. Thank you very much. We'll now move to item number 3, which is what Member Stevenson was just referring to, and that's the Financial Services Police Service Reserve Fund report, number 2505FF01. And I'll turn it over to Deputy Chief McSween for further information.
Thank you, Chair, and through you. This report examines the London Police Services Board management of the Police Reserve Fund and provides recommendations regarding its usage and target levels to ensure ongoing financial stability and operational flexibility. The report highlights changes to the capital expenditures process and recommends amending the reserve fund bylaw to increase the authority of the Chief of Police or designate to approve drawdowns from the reserve fund from 100,000 to 500,000. This change would allow for quicker access to funds for urgent operational needs without requiring prior board approval, thereby improving response times to critical situations while still maintaining financial oversight. The increase in the chief's spending authority would align with the current procurement policy and streamline processes for accessing reserve funds during the year. In addition to the proposed revision to the chief's spending authority, the report recommends maintaining the existing reserve fund target at 5 to 10% of the LPS's net operational budget. This target level supports the service's ability to manage unforeseen expenses or one-time capital requirements while promoting long-term financial sustainability. Municipal scan included in the report shows that similar targets are in place across comparable police services, reinforcing the appropriateness of this range. The report also recommends that a formal review of the reserve target be completed before the end of the current multi-year budget cycle to assess future capital risks and evolving service needs. Overall, the recommendations presented aim to strengthen the service's financial resilience while enhancing its ability to respond quickly and effectively to emerging demands. And any questions, it is recommended that the board maintain the established target for the London Police Service Fund at 5 to 10% of the net London Police Service operating budget, and approve a revision to the LPS Reserve Fund bylaw to increase the police chief or designate's authority to approve drawdowns from the reserve fund from 100K to 500K and direct staff to work with civic administration to bring forward the required bylaw updates to City Council.
Perfect. Thank you, Deputy McSween. Are there any questions for Deputy McSween? I'm going to put the recommendations onto the floor, and then we can have discussion on those. So just to recap, which would be codified motions, recommendation number 1 is that the London Police Service Board maintain the established target for the London Police Service Reserve Fund at 5 to 10% of the net London Police Service operating budget. And number 2 is approve a revision to the LPS Reserve Fund bylaw to increase the police chief or designate's authority to approve drawdowns from the reserve fund from 100,000 to 500,000 and direct staff to work with the civic administration to bring forward the required bylaw updates to city council. Can I have a mover of those motions, please? Member Stevenson, can I have a seconder? To get them on the floor, Member Lehman. So will you second it, put them on the floor? And then we'll discuss. Just getting the recommendations on the floor.
Chair, can we talk about them in two separate motions?
Yeah, 100%. We can break them into 2 if you'd like. So, well, what I'll do then is we'll go with number 1 first. Member Stevenson, are you good to move, maintain an established target of London Police Service Reserve Fund at 5 to 10% of the net London Police Service operating budget?
Yes.
Yes, and are you good to second? To get it on the floor for discussion, Member Lane.
I can second.
Thank you, Member Walker. So now I'll take a list on the motion that is on the floor.
Okay, so again, we were requested by council to look at that reserve fund request, and I'm inclined to agree. I would like to see it more in the range of 4 to 6%.
Okay.
So how do I have to vote this motion down?
No, we just got the motion on the floor, so you would then look to amend the motion.
So then I would look to amend the motion to 4 to 6%.
Perfect. Okay, so just so that we're clear, you'd be looking to maintain, instead of maintaining, you would be looking to establish the target for London Police Service Reserve Fund at
4 to 6%.
4 to 6% of the net London Police Service operating budget. Correct. That's your amendment. Do I have a seconder for the amendment? Member Morgan? Okay, so now the amended motion is on the floor. I'll take a list on that. If anyone would like to speak to that, comments? Member Branscombe?
We discussed at the finance committee and we didn't believe we needed a range. So we were talking about 5%, but it seems like with further discussion by our executive director and the finance team at the police department that they like that range a little bit better than a single number of 5%. So I'm quite happy with 4 to 6. I thought 5 to 10 is too high. But I wouldn't want to go much below 5 either. So if we have to have a range, 4 to 6 is good, but my goal would always be to keep it 5 and above.
Member Morgan?
Yes, I'm very supportive of the amendment. I agree, 5 to 10% is too high. I mean, a 10% reserve is $18.6 million. That's larger than some other boards and commissions' entire budget, right? So I get that we have a large operation and we need to have adequate ability to plan and budget, but I think we can be tighter than the 5 to 10% range. I think 4 to 6 is a reasonable place to land. And I also know that these are targets, right? Sometimes you may be below the target. In fact, that happens often at the city and other boards. Sometimes they're below the target. Gives you kind of a place to work towards. And then when you're in that range, you have a bit more flexibility on the drawdowns, as well as the opportunities to decide what to do if you exceed that, which I think is appropriate. So I think a 4 to 6 range is good for me for now, and I'm happy to support the amendment.
Thank you, Member Morgan. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to this motion as amended? Just one point of clarification, and through the mover of the amendment, did you also want to report back to the budget chair and the deputy mayor who visited regarding the reserve fund targets in the first place as to what is being moved here? Would you like to codify that in your motion?
Thank you, Chair, for raising that. Absolutely. I would. I think communication from this board on concerns raised by council is very important.
So Mel, we have that. Okay, so just for everyone, because there's been a few moving parts there. So it's going to read that the London Police Service Board establish a target for the London Police Service Reserve Fund at 4 to 6% of the net London Police Service operating budget, and that the London Police Service Board respond in writing to Deputy Mayor Lewis and Budget Chair Pelosa on the action that was taken as a follow-up to their visit to this board at a previous meeting. So we have an amended motion on the floor. The mover and the seconder are good with that. All right. Anyone further to speak to it? Seeing none, I'll call the question. Anyone opposed? That's carried. Thank you very much. And now we'll move to the second motion, a recommendation that will need to be made a motion of approving a revision to the LPS Reserve Fund bylaw to increase the police chief or designate's authority to approve drawdowns from the reserve fund from 100,000 to 500,000 and direct staff to work with civic administration to bring forward the required bylaw updates to city council. Can I have a mover, please? Moved by member Branscombe, seconded by member Walker. I'll take a list on that for any member Branscombe, please.
Thanks, Chair. I support this. It seems like quite a leap from 100 to 500, but we've got a lot of things that are going on right now with all the changes we're making, and I want to make sure that the chief can be nimble if something happens and he needs to make a decision. The only thing I asked at the finance committee, and I think our ED got the answer, so maybe we'd like to talk about that. I just want to make sure that that it always is for sort of things that can't wait until the next board meeting, because we meet every 30 days. And then secondly, that we have a full report and documentation of what he used this discretion for, and kind of a full report about why it couldn't wait till the next board meeting.
Perfect. Thank you, Vice Chair Branscombe. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to this?
I wanted the ED to answer, Chair.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to find my emails here because I had reached out.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
Okay,
I had reached out to, because, Director of Finance, Graham, she's not here today. So she's the one, so I will be able to maybe send it to you after, but it was with respect to the fact that there are already accountability measures in place and that the board would be reported to, but I might have to just peruse my emails to get the exact wording. That's right. Quarterly, they're reported quarterly. Yes, okay. Yeah, reported to the board through quarterly financial updates, and then that the LPS will continue to ensure that any withdrawals are clearly justified and reported to the board in a timely, transparent manner.
Member Branscombe, follow up?
No, I just wanted that on the public record so that everybody knows.
Perfect. Thank you. Any other speakers on the adjustment to the reserve fund bylaw to increase for the chief of police or designate? Seeing none, I'll call the question. Anyone opposed? That's carried. Thank you very much. Okay, so we'll move on to item number 4, Uniform Division Vehicle Pursuits Q1 Report 505 UD01, and I will turn it over to Deputy Chief Gilbert.
Thank you very much. Chair, through you. Before you is the Q1 report for vehicle pursuit. As you can see, there was one reported pursuit that our police officers engaged in out of 44 incidents. So in those other 43 incidents, they were able to use their training, come up with alternative measures to have follow-up investigation, find out who those drivers were. And in those other 43 cases, they ended up laying 110 criminal charges and 31 provincial offenses against 37 people. And in that one incident of a pursuit, it ended up being terminated, but again, through some follow-up investigation, they were able to determine who the driver was and lay the appropriate criminal offenses. And that is the report.
Thank you, Deputy Chief. Any questions for Deputy Chief Guilford? Seeing none, we'll receive that report for information and move on to the next item. Item number 5, the Criminal Investigation Division Crime Stoppers Q1 Report 2505 CI01, and Deputy Chief Bastine, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair. Through Chair, high-level summary, respective this report. The number of tips received year to date, as compared to last year, remain exactly stable, exactly the same. So we did see decreases in the other metrics, except for basic weapons seized. However, what's the metric that we feel we have some metric control over, or some ability to influence in terms of encouraging or supporting Crime Stoppers and encouraging people to contact Crime Stoppers about with information about crime, is something we can potentially influence. The other we can influence the quality of the tips they provide. So happy to see numbers stable so far, subject to any questions that the board has to report, and happy to answer what I can.
Member Stevenson.
Thank you. Yeah, just for public awareness, can you let the public know when they should call Crime Stoppers or for what purposes they could use that line?
Through the chair, so anyone can call Crime Stoppers by using the phone number. I can pull it up here in a second, but or going online. A lot of people are more comfortable just by going online to make the reports. Strictly anonymous. Although we report on Crime Stoppers, it's not, we don't operate Crime Stoppers. Crime Stoppers is operated by a nonprofit organization, community of volunteers. So but again, we support them and we interact for the purpose of taking information and following up on it. Anytime anyone has information about a public safety issue, be it a drug house information, drug transaction information, any kind of criminal activity, driving activity, road safety activity, we like to get as police officers, we like to get witnesses, we like people to come to us, but we recognize that Crime Stoppers is a valuable partner because it gives people an outlet when they don't necessarily want to go through the next steps or be involved in the process for any number of reasons, many of which include the fact that they are sometimes close to the source of information. So it's not about Crime Stoppers is not only for people who happen to see something when they're out and about, it's for people who have information about people who might be known to them to some extent, and they can share that anonymously. Crime Stoppers shares information with us that allows us to follow up on it, but gives us nothing with respect to who the caller is, and there's no way for us to identify them. So your main question about when to report anything, when in doubt, absolutely call Crime Stoppers or go online and provide the tips.
Okay, thanks. It's really great to know because there's a lot of people that I know reach out to their counselor saying that they're concerned about drug activity in certain houses or in certain locations, or maybe they're seeing open public drug use and it's hard to get through on the non-emergency line. So this will be a great resource for them.
If I could just maybe build on that, Chair, through you. All the tips that come through and frequent flyers, a lot of the tips we receive do have to do with drug activity, and all of those go to the guns and gangs section. They're received by an analyst who goes through to vet them and identify. The reality is a lot of them are not actionable without some kind of follow-up. And there are means for that, for us to communicate with the tipster through Crime Stoppers as an intermediary, but they are prioritized and in some cases lead directly to substantial results.
Okay, no, it's really great to know sometimes people are concerned about being identified, especially if they live close by. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Anyone else? Any other questions for Deputy Bestine on number 5? Seeing none, we'll receive that report, and I'll move on to item number 6, Executive Administration, 6.1, Professional Standards Branch, Quarterly Complaints Report, 2505 EA03, and back to you, Deputy Bestine.
Thank you, Chair, through the chair. You have the report before you with charts that contain breakdown of statistics for the first quarter of 2025. High-level summary, verbally, the number of complaints overall during the quarter increased compared to last year. Any number of reasons might be in play. One I know for sure is involves a single individual complaining multiple times about various things, which does have some impact to the upward trend. It is, however, fairly sharp, and we're watching it for how that progresses through the rest of the year. Most complaints pertain, as is typically the case, to the performance of duties or interactions with the public. So it's either a failure or perceived failure on the part of a member of the public of an officer to carry out a certain duty, or the manner in which a person perceives or is dealt with, spoken to, addressed by an officer. That makes up the majority. And as is usually the case as well, year over year, quarter over quarter, the vast majority of complaints that are received ultimately are screened out by the law enforcement complaints agency. And ultimately, those that are screened in result in a very small number of substantiated findings. Subject to any questions about the report itself, that's a high level overview.
Deputy Bestine? Any comments, questions for the question? Seeing none, we will receive that for information. 6.2, London Police Service 2024 Performance Metrics Report, number 2505 EA01, and I'll turn it over to Chief Ron.
Thank you, Chair, and through you. So you have before you the performance metrics report for all of 2024. And this is a example and outcome of, I will first say, through the support of this board and the support that you've given this administration to support our organization to meet the expectations of the community. I thank you for your support, and I also thank City Council for their support with the budget. And it's a direct result, really, of the hard work that our members do each and every day. That we can be very proud of these metrics and coupled with the community. And that has been a priority for us to achieve community safety and making the city safer. Today, we cannot do it without the community. We cannot do it without our members, both sworn and civilian police professionals. So I'll go through the report at a high level and note some key areas for the board's awareness. As you can see, we started measuring results to help inform us to deploy better, help provide better service to the community. And if we don't measure it, we don't know if we're in the right trend or not. So one of the things that we're doing differently than previous years is we've identified hotspots, and there's 3 categories within hotspots. So we take into account the community have concerns and various groups and individuals in the community, whether it is real concerns or not, it's perceived concerns. And we take that into account because we need the community to feel safe. So if I can refer you to page 2 of the document, you'll look at hotspot categories, and that's been broken down to community-based, high harm, and property crime categories. So a community-based hotspot for us is an area where it's a concern from the community. So if it's a concern from the community, that's where we're focusing some of our efforts. High harm categories or areas where we've identified frequency of crime, severity of crime. These are areas from our talented professionals in business analytics and evidence-based policing direct us to so we can provide strategic guidance on where deployment happens. And then you'll see hotspot categories of property crime, and that's simply exactly what it says. Areas where there's spikes and patterns that property crimes are occurring. So we started measuring the amount of visits, the amount of deployments, and the time in these areas, because what we know from policing and research is that if we put a police officer and we make that officer, whether it's a vehicle or an individual, visible roughly 12 to 16 minutes in that area, it has a very positive impact on deterrence and the decrease of crime. So we started measuring, and you can see for all of last year, resource time in hours is 13,400 hours specific only to these areas that we've identified in the city. And very important for us because we previously to last year, we weren't recording these in detail as we are now. So we've also broken it into visits, and visits is a minimum of 12 minutes is a visit. So it allows us to strategically deploy, and it allows us to determine exactly how much time is being spent in these areas. If you scroll down to page 3, you can look at number of service complaints. And as the board is fully aware, we prioritize to meet the strategic plan and to make sure that we're performing as best we can. We prioritized organizational wellness, community trust, and community safety, indicative of the 3 deputy chiefs who are responsible for those areas of command. One measure of organizational wellness, one piece is determine how are we doing as a police service with complaints. So police services across the province, across Canada receive complaints. No police service is perfect. We looked at the number of complaints that we received as an organization since 2021. And last year, we reduced service complaints by 43%. So that's a very big reduction in service complaints from 65 the previous year to 37. And again, for us, that's important because it shows that we're on the right track and we're providing better service to the community. The crime severity index is one way that Statistics Canada measures crime in communities and tries to put it on a level playing field. The data for 2024 is not out, should be out in the next several weeks for 2024. The most recent data from Statistics Canada has the crime severity index for all of 2023. Now, every jurisdiction, every municipality receives a crime severity index. Last year, we reduced our crime severity index by 14%. Again, largest reduction, not only in Ontario, but the largest reduction in crime across Canada. While municipalities, regions across Ontario and Canada, on average, are actually increasing in crime severity index, this city reduced. And it's something that we are very proud of because it demonstrates as a whole the hard work that our members are doing every day and the connection and the trust we have with the community. Another concern, as you know, big concern from this community was response times, code 1s, code 2s, and code 3s. For the last 4 to 5 years, it has been increasing in every category each year, year over year. This is the first time in 4 to 5 years where we actually saw decreases. And if you look at page 4, the chart below, you will see the reduction from code 1s, code 2s, and code 3s. Now, again, showing that we are moving in the right direction for the first time in many, many years. And I'll draw your attention to priority 3 responses. In 2023, 9 times out of 10, when a priority 3 non-urgent call came in, our officers would get there on average 9 out of 10 times, 132 hours and 28 minutes on average. That is, I believe it's about 5.5 days. Totally unacceptable. Last year, it's 81 hours. Significant reduction. And that works out to, I think, three and some change days. Still, we're not jumping for joy that that's okay, but we're going to celebrate a reduction in this time, which we haven't had before, and it's a significant reduction. And one would say that, well, it's not a big deal because it's a non-emergency response. And I would actually say it is a big deal because when a house gets broken into, when a car gets broken into, although those are not urgent and emergency, people are impacted, the community is impacted. So we want to get there as quickly as we can. And these are big reductions that we're seeing, code 1s, code 2s, and code 3s. I'll draw your attention to the next page, and that is page 5. And these are just some of the new initiatives and continuing partnerships that we have within the community to make sure that we're really working with the community, because we know community safety, again, it is not solely at the hands of the police. We need the community, we need to work with the community, and we need to work with our community agencies. So there's a list of some new partnerships and some current partnerships that we're strengthening with a real focus on violence against women and girls. And one highlight of that page for you is last year, remember during the multi-year budget, the plan that was put before the board was to change the service delivery model for our organization. We've been responding to crime the same way for the last 30 years. As the city expanded this organization, we weren't able to expand, and we weren't able to modernize in our service delivery. So last year was year one out of year two of the service delivery model change. So at the end of 2025, we will have fully implemented the new service delivery model. So last year, the big highlight is we've introduced investigative teams onto each section of frontline response. And there's a 24-hour response if there's a crime specifically about gender-based violence, domestic violence, sexual assault. We are training up these teams to make sure that there's capacity to take on these investigations versus the old way is leaving it with the front line to manage until the specialized units come in the following morning. So that's a big change. And although it may seem like a non-complex change, it's quite complex to move the whole organization. It's going to take 2 years to fully implement. So that is that's something we're really happy about and really proud of. And if I can draw your attention to page 6. Page 6 shows our enforcement efforts with tickets, with traffic stops, and you can see a direct correlation. And this board is fully aware of what happened in December of last year, where a young boy was killed on our roads. 2024, although it ended tragically with that death in December, if you look at all of 2024, we reduced fatal motor vehicle collisions on our streets by 45%. That is something we are very proud of. Again, indicative of our membership working very hard, being visible out there and working with the community, because a reduction of each percent means a life is being saved. So very happy about that. And then if you stay on that page and you go to the shootings, one of the priorities for us was reduce gun violence in the city. As you recall, 2 years ago, there was historic amounts of gun violence happening in the city. And I can proudly say that last year we reduced gun violence by 48%. And that is something, again, from enforcement efforts, working with the community, and the hard work of our membership. And that is at a high level, the performance metric report before you, Chair.
Thank you, Chief. I'm sure we'll have a long list. So I will look to, I have Member Morgan. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to it? Member Walker, Member Stevenson, I assume Member Lehman. So we'll just go down to my left here, and Member Branscombe, if you'd like to speak to it too, just give me an indication. So the floor is yours, Member Morgan.
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to speak to this because, wearing a different hat than my member here had. I remember giving a speech talking about a historic investment in policing and a historic level of accountability. And this report is a piece of that accountability. We're showing that budgets are investments. You invest that money in doing things, and you expect results for it. And although we're a long way from being done, I think the results and the trends and the direction that we're going is very positive. I want to comment on a couple of the things that the chief said. When he talks about reduction of service complaints, remember, like, visibility and presence in the community has gone up during that time. So there's more contacts with police happening. There's more enforcement happening. There's more presence on the streets, and complaints about the service are going down. That speaks to the quality of the work that the officers out there are doing, the training that they're getting, and the direction that they have, and the support that they have from the board and the taxpayers of the city with proper equipment, proper training. They know proper investments are coming, and that gives them, a lot of confidence and ability to do their job very well. I know the chief talked about crime severity and response times. I know response times, like you said, still 3 days is a long time. But for someone waiting for an officer, being there 2 days sooner than before, that's a big deal for someone who's had their house broken into, right? Again, I think we're on a direction here. There's more work to do. We know we haven't deployed fully the resources that have been given to us, nor have we changed the structure operationally all the way, but these are like exceptionally positive directional trends. I mean, I think we can all be excited about the reduction in fatalities on the roads, reduction in shootings. But I even just look at traffic enforcement, because I know, and I know the other counselors, will say the same thing, is we hear it all the time, a few years back, like, people have been driving horribly out there, and no one is keeping them in check. And when I look at just the number of tickets that have been handed out due to the additional resources and the enforcement being done, we haven't had that many handed out. You gotta go back to 2019. So, you know, laws are being enforced here on our streets. And that's a really good thing, because that's what taxpayers in the city expect. They want the laws to be enforced. They want crime to go down. And I'm, you know, as much as I don't, you know, I care about the city of London. I know that you know, crime is something across the country. But I get the feeling that our stats are going down and other cities are going up because criminals know it's gonna be harder to do business here, right? We're investing tons of resources. We're modernizing technology. We've got well-trained officers. So guess what? This is not a great place to do business if you're a criminal anymore. So I'm glad to see that this is the trends occurring. I'm excited to see as these reports continue to come out in 2025 and 2026 to see exactly, you know, where we get to at the end of the day. But I just want to say, and again, I'm here as a police board member, but let me say from my other hat on behalf of the people of the city of London, like, thank you. Thanks to every officer who have taken their hard-earned money, invested it really well, and deployed it in a way that is producing results for them. And I'm just really proud of the work that you're doing. And I know you have our full support to continue that work. So I love this report, and I can't wait to share this publicly with a lot of people. So thanks so much.
Member Walker.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
So first of all, I read this very thoroughly, and it's just really quite amazing to see how far you've come. And I know that it takes a lot of people to come together to achieve change. And I just want to thank everybody and also all of your officers. It's really quite spectacular. And great progress, absolutely. A couple of things. First of all, I wanted to ask you about the Pride program. God, I've forgotten it twice in like 2 minutes. I just want to say how important that is. So I live in an area where I look over and I see those Pride programs in place. For a long time, they did not exist. And I would look over and think, oh, like, it's just so critical to have a program that prevents impaired driving. And I was always so disappointed. And when they started coming back, it was, you know, I almost felt like maybe I should go down there and wave a flag, because I was so excited to see that they'd come back, because Pride programs are so important. And so I really appreciate that activity has started to take place. And it'll be interesting as we continue on to see how many impaired drivers there still are in this community after the stats come in for that. I also wanted to just address one issue. Was about the new and continuing initiatives. And, you know, so this is fabulous as well, because it gives us a good idea as to what's going on, and you can really monitor it if it's actually identified as an initiative. So the first one says the goal is to increase the number of new initiatives that address violence against women and girls, combat hate crimes. And I just want to, first of all, thank you for identifying that women and girls actually are women and girls and not just a gender. So thank you for doing that. It's really important that people be named. And so that's important. But the second thing I wanted to say is around the hate crimes. So we've been told, I've been told before the board, I was on the board, that hate crimes against women are difficult to really enforce. And I'm not sure why that was now. I can't remember, but it's not relevant to my point. What I wondered is, in your recollection, have there ever been hate crimes against women recorded as actually happening?
Chief?
Thank you for that question and Chair through you. I actually don't know. Nothing comes to mind recently in our organization, specifically a hate crime committed based on the victim being female.
It's rare in the country, actually, and it's one of the reasons why we continue to press forward towards legislating femicide. Because we're always told that there's no legislation that allows for that to happen. And if we did have legislation around femicide, it would give police the tools they need to actually lay hate-related crimes against individuals. And so I just wanted to put that out there because nobody should be exposed to a hate crime. And they should always be reported so that you can track them. And I think, we need to really press forward and do a little bit more on that with respect to women, because right now they're sort of left out of that very, very serious crime. And that is a serious crime, and in fact, can be a precursor to femicide. So just wanted to put that out there. Thank you, and thank you all very much. This is really great work.
Thank you, Member Walker. Vice Chair Branscombe.
Thanks. I just want to say that I'm so pleased with the work that's been done and the results we're getting. I remember when we were doing the budget presentations and Safer City Now, I think some people thought it was kind of corny and just a slogan, but we all believed it in our heart of hearts, as we know the chief and the deputies did as well, the leadership team. So with that kind of commitment and putting the great resources we got to action, and this is just early days yet, we can already see pretty substantial results. So I'm so encouraged and I'm so excited about what the next year will bring, because we're going to modernize the police service, and we've got so many things going on. It's a bit mind-boggling, but it's what we needed to do. I think that we were way behind other police departments, and we're catching up slowly but surely, and we're going to surge ahead. So Chief and admin team, thank you very much for all the hard work, and board, thank you, and even the council. Everybody took everybody's effort to get this to where we are today, and I'm very grateful, because we do have a safer city now. It's not as safe as we need it to be yet, but we're moving in the right direction. So I'm very pleased with these results.
Thank you, Vice Chair Branscombe. Member Stevenson.
Yeah, huge thank you and gratitude as well. And it's so nice to see such big improvements with the budget money and with the new leadership changes and the new people you've been able to hire. They say change takes time, but apparently you guys are able to create a significant amount of change. We're not talking about small numbers. Traffic safety is something I hear about all the time and people are really concerned about. And we've got 50% increases in tickets and warnings year over year. That's like 100% increase since 2022. And it's needed. It's really needed out there for people to feel safe. Same as the hot spots, you've got dramatic numbers there. So to know that you're only halfway through the implementation of the new service delivery model, to know that there's more people going through OPC and coming on board, it really is pretty phenomenal, to see the results that are being created, how you've been able to do all the hiring. We can only imagine behind the scenes what that looks like, getting new equipment in, trained, new employees, culture changes. It's a lot. So it is encouraging and really hopeful. And it's nice there was a lot of risk involved in the last couple of years at everybody's level, and the risk is paying off. And so on behalf of all Londoners, thank you.
Thank you, Member Stevenson.
Oh, I did have one other point.
Please.
Member Morgan said something about London getting the word out that London wasn't the place to do crime. And so now with our new open air drug strategy, hopefully it's also getting out there that it's not the place to come and do drugs either.
Thank you. Member Lehman.
Thanks, yeah, there's a lot of information here, which is fantastic. I just want to touch on a few things. I think that the modernization of the police force, which I know you are a huge advocate of, and bringing us up in the 21st century. It's fascinating to watch, and I think, just for example, a hotspot methodology to a new way of policing that has been brought to London, I think is starting to show fruit, which is terrific. Just want to touch on a couple of things that have been mentioned prior, and obviously the big one is shootings. I mean, that's fantastic because that's lethal. But traffic enforcement is an interesting one. And 911 response, obviously. I mean, those are very public facing interactions with police that most of us have, I guess, as opposed to some of the more serious crimes. When I first, became a counselor, I got familiar with police operations. I saw, I took the 911 area, and I saw the board of unanswered 911 calls, and it was jammed, like 200 unanswered calls every day, facing officers coming in every day that they can never make progress on. Can you just give me an anecdotal update on the state of that board?
Yes, Chair, and through you. When I came here 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago, I had heard that the queue was, very high. I was very shocked to actually see the queue upwards up to almost 300 calls in the queue. And what the community may need to wrap their minds around means our frontline officers are coming to work, starting their shift, whether it's a day shift or a night shift, knowing that there are hundreds of calls waiting for them to be dispatched. Now, it is defeating the minute you come into work. So that adds to the significant amount of stress that the officers have and morale as well. And, to fix that problem with the queue, that didn't just happen overnight. That happened over a number of years, and it remained worse and worse and worse. So with the support of the board, and, I can't thank the board enough for having the courage and the support to provide this senior leadership team and this executive team to make the changes that we need. And now, anecdotally, I can tell you since January 1st, 2025, I've not seen the queue at 100. The queue has been in the double digits, and at one point I saw the queue at 0. Now, the goal and what we want is that number to remain as low as possible. We want that number ultimately when officers come to work. There's busy times during the day. They get to work, they get that queue to 0, respond to citizens, get it to 0, and as it's 0, then it has the rest of the time, the officers have time to engage with the community, to get out of their cars and do foot patrol, to do that community policing piece, and to be proactive. Because, if we are not continually targeting crime with prevention, engagement, and enforcement, then that's where the criminals are going to find their ways. We have to do enforcement. And there's a big onus of community engagement to build community trust, but we are not stopping or slowing down on enforcement. We have a lot of enforcement efforts continuing. So in short, that queue, we're really happy. We've got still a long way to go, sir. And as this board knows, the plan put before the board is a 4-year plan. That's 4 years to get us up to par.
Well, yes, for sure. Through you. So the reason I brought that up is because a number of years past, my concerns from constituents were a large part about response from police, 911 response, and traffic enforcement. They had a feeling that, like, where are the police? I call them for 911, I don't see them for like a week. Guys are racing around the streets. I don't see people pulled over. So when I saw, and it's been mentioned by previous members here, the fact that we've increased the number of tickets by 100% shows me that now that we have officers out doing other parts of policing. When I would get those emails and I would talk to previous administration, they were aware of it, but they would say, "Counselor, you don't have the resources." Like, it was a triage. It was a triage to go after the priority 911 calls. That had to be the important thing, but they were robbing Peter to pay Paul. They were taking from all these other areas, traffic enforcement, obviously being one. When we came in here, we knew the numbers were great. Just as worrisome or even more was the trends. It seemed to be getting worse and worse and worse every year. So pleased to see the numbers change, but also the trends changing. So you mentioned, yeah, we're partway along the 4-year plan, but I'm seeing the trends go to that direction that you laid out before us. So thank you. I want to say thank you to you and your team. I also want to say thank you to council, as we mentioned earlier, for providing the resources so that you wouldn't have to triage. You have resources to make us safe throughout the city in all aspects of public safety.
Thank you, Member Lehman. Who else would like to say something? So I just take this opportunity. I just want to echo what my colleagues have said. A big thank you to you, to your deputies, to everyone in the organization, both sworn and civilian, that's working hard to make sure that we can deliver these numbers. I think it's very, very important. But Chief, I want to build on something you said. I appreciate the fact that you said, like, this is a 4-year plan. This is still not good enough. So as excited as we are, it's still not good enough. It's still not what Londoners expect. That's not being said to be negative. That's just being a realist here. And we still have more work to do to deliver for Londoners. And I look forward to seeing these updates and what Member Morgan had alluded to, the new level of transparency with these numbers that we committed to. Like this board said, give us the money, council. We commit to this, and we are living up to our end of the bargain. And in that moment, I did want to draw the attention to a few items because I hear a lot about, quality of life, things. So around speeding, but around mufflers, loud noises, things that interrupt people's, well-being and the enjoyment of their property. And I had the opportunity a few months back to be out on the road with Constable Pearson of the Traffic Management Unit to see that proactive policing taking place, to see those people with the loud mufflers who have no reason to have a loud muffler other than just to make noise and show off. Being pulled over, being educated. And it wasn't just a heavy hand. I was trying to educate them that, well, I got this from the dealer. Well, you may have, but it's still not legal just because someone sold it to you. So really that education piece, I think, is important because for too long, it wasn't happening. So people didn't know any better. And I think that's, as to what Member Morgan had said, and my colleagues had also said on this side, was that when there's not enforcement happening, whether it be a ride program, whether it be a radar check, people are going to take more liberties out there. And I think that they're realizing that they can't do that anymore. So it's really great to see that because I get stopped the most when people know that I'm on the board about speeding and about traffic, number one, and then response times is a close second. But it's good to see these numbers, 2024 numbers, the tickets up, the warnings up as well. And I think we need to keep doing that. And to what Member Walker said on the ride program, that's such a scourge on our population, drinking and driving. It needs to be cracked down on. It can't be let go. Those are unavoidable deaths and injuries that are happening. Avoidable deaths and injuries that are happening that we need to make sure do not happen. And I also really wanted just to point out the numbers on the fatalities. Someone who lost a brother in a car accident, it obviously hits very close home for me, but seeing the number of fatalities and the decrease in motor vehicle from 2023 to 2024, pretty well cut in half. That's very, very good. And I want to see that eventually zero. We may not get there, but it's good to have goals. And then to Member Lehman's point, the decrease in shootings, I don't think we can talk about that enough. To go from, gun violence shootings from 27 to 14 in 2024, this shows that things are working. But I don't want my remarks taken out of context. I don't want anyone to think that I'm accepting this as good enough. I'm not. I don't think anyone around this horseshoe is. And you know what, 81 hours for a dispatch priority 3 call is not good enough. And Chief, you alluded to that, and I know you're working hard with your teams to do that, but the progress is exciting, and we need to celebrate victories, and we need to commend people for the work that they're being done, and showing that new delivery models are working. They're not just being put in place, but they're actually working and they're delivering results. So I'll be curious to see the new CSI numbers in 2024, and look forward to an update back to the board as well. So Chief, thank you.
No pressure.
No pressure at all, but we will be holding you and your team to account. So on that, I'll look once more for any final comments on this report.
Thanks, Nancy's got a question.
Oh, I'm sorry, Nancy, Member Branscombe, Vice Chair Branscombe. You're on mute, I'm sorry.
Do we need to just move receipt or not?
No, we can just accept it for information without motion.
Okay, that's fine then. And I just wanted to, before we get into the verbal reports, I have to leave to go on a call at 2:30, so I'll just quietly go away.
Thank you.
Thank
We'll make note of that in the minutes, Vice Chair. Thank you. Okay, so moving on now to item number 7, verbal updates. I guess I will go first. First of all, I just want to say thank you very much to the board for placing your trust in me to serve in this role. It's an honor. It's an honor for all of us to sit on this board, and as the governance arm of the London Police Service. So I won't let you down. Thank you very, very much, and I look forward to continuing the work that we've been undertaking for the last couple of years.
No pressure.
No pressure. I also wanted to talk about our most recent recruit swearing-in ceremony on April 24th. We, as promised, we're putting more officers on the streets. It was great to see that again. I will say, as my predecessor always said, it's one of the better parts of the job, actually, especially when you see, the kids hugging their mom and dad who are changing careers, and to see grandparents so proud, and to see everyone in the audience, for those men and women taking on this important job. We really, really appreciate the work they do. But I also wanted to take a moment to point out too that under this chief's leadership and his command team, the organization has really made it a priority also to celebrate different milestones in both sworn and civilian employees' careers here in the service. And that's always nice too, because it's great to get sworn in, it's great to celebrate that, but oftentimes those milestone accomplishments, whether it be service or a medal for valor, or whatever it might be, those need to be celebrated as well. So that was equally as rewarding too, to see those members and those civilian employees celebrate with their families. So just wanted to once again congratulate everyone that is coming into the organization, everyone who continues to do good work. So thank you very, very much to everyone there. I also want to note that on behalf of the board, I attended the Ontario Police Memorial in Toronto with the chief and the deputies, and a contingent of about 100 people from the London Police Service. I'm not going to steal the chief's thunder, because I'm sure he's going to talk about that in his report as well. But I think it was the biggest ever, and it was really great to see that. I also did the national ceremony in Ottawa previously, and it's very powerful. And I encourage everyone to take the time out of their day and to attend those ceremonies, and to thank the men and women in uniform who made the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty. So I did also want to note that today, May 15th, is Police Officers Memorial Day. And again, I wanted to thank the brave men and women who've made the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty. It's also National Police Week as well. So to everyone here at LPS, again, both sworn and civilian, thank you for the work that you do. It's very much appreciated by this board. I also wanted to briefly chat about a very fun experience I had yesterday. Part of National Police Week with the chief for the day. I had the opportunity to swear in our young chief for the day, and I thought it's really great to see him in, and to show youth how it works, and for the chief to get a break for 24 hours. So it was very, very enjoyable, and I really want to commend the chief for moving forward with these type of initiatives, to break down those walls that can sometimes be put up around a police service, and including a police headquarters. You and your team are making big strides, and I know there was another a bit of a festival carnival event last night here at LPS as well, and the community is really embracing this. So kudos to you and your team for that work. And the last thing I just wanted to mention is I just wanted to address, since our last meeting that, our previous chair, Ali Chabar had stepped down for personal health reasons. And I just wanted to say a few words on that because Ali spent over 3.5 years on this board. And full disclosure, Ali's a good friend, but, he's just a remarkable human being, and he gave his whole self to this job. It is very, very time consuming role. And Ali, you will never be a harder worker than Ali Chabar. And the progress that he has made helped drive at this board. I can't properly put it into words. He was not only a champion for the board and the organization, but he led with heart, he led with integrity, and he did really hard things. Sitting on these boards, I think everyone sits on a lot of boards they can attest to. Sometimes it's just easy to fly under the radar, not ruffle feathers, go about your day, read your package, and leave the meeting. That wasn't Ali. A lot of people know that this was personal for him. His father sat in this chair as well, and then he did it also, and he did it with honor. And a lot of these things that we're talking about today, a lot of the progress that the chief just outlined, was under his leadership and pushing forward to ask council and push council to approve that increase and work with the mayor and Councillor Lehman and Councillor Stevenson to get that across the finish line. So I know he is not one for praise and will probably be crawling under the table right now, but I just wanted to say thank you. I wanted to wish him all the best and to him and his family, and thank him for his service with our board. And I'll end there, and I will turn it over to our executive director for her verbal report.
So I just have a few quick things. I'm going to reiterate the Ontario Association of Police Service Board. The conference is June 3rd to 5th, and the board is co-hosting the pre-conference welcome reception. There will actually also be a co-presentation between Chief Trong and Chair Gauss. And it's sort of about what we spoke about with the performance metrics report, in that how strategic board decisions and leadership alignment leads to operational and cultural reform. So sort of the effect of that and working together in collaboration and how that can produce positive results for the community. So that's going to be the first presentation up at the conference. So I hope we'll all be there. The next update is we are moving to our new dedicated board office space next week. So it's going to be directly across from the executive offices. The purpose of this is for more accessibility, more visibility. People can walk by and we'll be able to have people, more easily visit us, whether it's the membership, whether it's the public. And then the last update, the website that I've been speaking about for a while now, it is basically ready to go live. It just needs a couple more tweaks, but I'm hoping at the June meeting to give a brief overview on how to navigate it. It's very comprehensive. It's got a lot of different information. It's going to be easy for the public to communicate with us through it. And those are my updates.
Thank you very much. Chief Trump.
Thank you, Chair, and through you. So a couple of updates. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and you will see the two senior officers in the room, Inspector Catherine Dan and Inspector Sean Travis, have the green epaulets along with the executive up here, and that is to raise awareness and show our members and policing wide that we recognize that being a first responder, being policing is a very complex and challenging occupation, and there's a lot of stigma that still surrounds mental health, and this is a very important part of leadership for us, where we wear the green to show and raise awareness to the community and to our own members, letting them know that we support them and we support the mental health. So that's for your awareness, as you already know. It's also National Police Week, and yesterday, thank you for joining us, Chair, and swearing in the better looking chief. He had a fantastic time, and we look forward to having him and his family at the next second annual Chiefs Gala in February next year. So he had a really great time, and then we closed out the day with an open house with the community. And I can tell you a lot of our senior leadership team attended, all of us attended. And as difficult and stressful as our job is, when we connect with the community, it really reminds us why we're doing what we do. So thank the community for supporting us as well. The metrics report, again, I won't belabor it, but you know, we expect that the next report coming to you will be just as impressive in the right direction. I am not naive to the fact that there will be bumps and bruises along the way, but this board can expect full commitment from all of us that we're going to continue to strive for excellence and continue the positive shift and making the city safer. I wanted just to acknowledge Sergeant Travis Winches from our K9 unit. He was recognized on March 26th by St. Thomas Police Service and their board. He was at the hospital on an unrelated off-duty matter and encountered an individual armed with a edged weapon, and he was there off duty to control the situation, really provided support and guidance to security staff, and made sure that the employees and everybody was safe until St. Thomas Police could get there. And they ended up doing some containment, and the taser was just deployed. So no one was injured, but he did some really great things and represented our organization very well. So I'm hoping the next board meeting or so he can come up and connect with the board. So we'll arrange with the ED and make that happen. And then the very last thing that I will say is all of us, myself included, and Vice Chair Branscombe isn't here, but we're really looking forward to working with the Vice Chair and you, Chair Goss. So congratulations on your appointment. I just want to say, to echo your comments with Chair Shabar, he's all I know. So, and you are absolutely right, Chair Goss. Being the chair is a lot of work, and it's a lot of work that the board and the public does not see. And Ali was an individual of true character, hard work, and part of the relationship that I had with Ali was that not only was he providing support as chair, but he was also providing a lot of support from a personal level and being in leadership. So we are going to miss him dearly, all of us, the organization, and but we're really looking forward to working with you, sir. So thank you, congratulations, and that is the Chief's verbal.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions, comments for the Chief? Yes, Mayor Mulder.
Just briefly on Chief per day, I just wanted to let everybody know I received a very thorough update. Called me around 2:00 and told me all the stuff that was happening at the police service and that the city was very safe. And so I appreciated that. Maybe a good template for a daily call from the chief. You can get some tips. Yeah. I will say Chief Trog keeps me up to date very well, but it was a different voice on the line yesterday. So that was kind of fun. So great job on that.
Okay. Thank you, Member Morgan. Is there any new business?
I have 12.
No. Seeing none, just before I move to adjourn, I just wanted to make a quick note, just to give you advance notice that the July meeting and the November meeting, those dates will be changing. So we'll be communicating those in the next few weeks. But we will still have meetings in those months, but they will be changing due to conflicts. So just wanted to give everyone a quick heads up on that. And with that, I will look for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Member Lehman, seconded by Member Stevenson. Anyone opposed? That's carried. Thank you very much.
November. Yeah.